So you have helped a lot of jewelry brands to become more sustainable. So what does sustainability and responsible sourcing mean for the jewelry gold industry? How is the concept of ethics involved? There are a lot of concepts floating around.
Yeah. Well, sustainability is a tricky one. For mining in particular, the majority of materials that the jewelry industry relies on are mined materials. And mining inherently is finite. The material that's available in the earth is only going to be there for, it runs out. It's there for a certain period of time.
Yeah.
So how do you apply the concept of sustainability to something that cannot be carried out forever? It cannot be sustained forever. So then you look at other factors like, how is the land treated where the mining is occurring? Is there a way that we can do that better than other methods? Are some methods better than the other, better for the environment? Are some ways of dealing with the economics of it better for the people that are mining and for the communities that are surrounding there? So that can be looked at through the lens of sustainability. So for the jewelry industry, I think that is an important way to look at it. It's like, where then, if the, by its very nature, the acquisition of the materials is challenging, how do you make it better? And that is possible. So when it comes to responsible sourcing, that's a matter of, looking at your supply chain and really understanding where your materials are coming from and where your biggest impacts are as a purchaser of those materials. So to determine that, then what do you do? That's where the ethics come in. It's very much a matter of understanding what it is that you really believe in. And we hope that the majority of the global population, believes in caring for the planet, caring for each other, equal rights for everyone. We hope that, at least that's what I come to this work with.
Yeah.
And we hope that others involved do the same. So when I say, the ethical framework, my hope is that people pause and really think about whether or not their choices are in line with their values.
How about the final consumers, right? So the ones who purchase a ring or necklace, whatever, would you say is there like a growing trend to purchase responsible jewelry? How do you see that scenario post-pandemic context? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I really think that jewelers are, not jewelers, but I think consumers are seeking out, they're seeking out jewelry, they're seeking out food, they're seeking out clothing, they're seeking out a variety of products that they rely on in a way that offers them a solution to their concerns. So we all know that, we can't buy our way to a better future. However, there's a lot of power in your choice when you are faced with the position to need to buy something new or to really desire to purchase something new. And so what have we seen? Definitely an increase in interest from consumers.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's not clear necessarily. I'd say it's not so easily clear. So
Yeah.
over the years of doing this work, we've had jewelers say, the customers that come to us are the ones that are working in international development. They're working for environmental organizations. They're working for, they're educators, they're they come to, they know that there are issues with the materials that are in jewelry. And so they seek out jewelers who can answer their questions, right? And when they find someone that can answer their questions about their material, they feel a lot more confident about that purchase. There's been, you know, among jewelers, there's been a great interest in attracting the millennial consumer who, you know, has been labeled and identified as a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
That you're included in this group, right?
Yeah,
That
and the ones coming after us as
and the
well. You
ones
know,
coming after too. Yeah, they really want, they want to know. And so, so jewelers are figuring out how to market to this group by talking about their practices. There's a bit of a problem. So we have, you know, with social media and keyword searches and all of these tools that we use online to attract consumers, they're doing a good job at attracting people. So
yeah.
people search sustainable jewelry. That's the most common search term, right?
Yes.
People search ethical jewelry. That is not enough, however. So it's proven that people are searching for that. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
On the part of the jeweler, it's not enough to rely on that alone. You really need to say what it is that you're doing and explain, because not all claims are created equal.
All right. Yeah.
You know? So, but I would say that there's definitely a trend in surveying and interviewing some jewelers, though generally it's the jeweler that's driving that on their own. Because consumers, you know, when asked, when jewelers are asked, do your consumers know where their gold comes from? Or do they come in asking that question? The answers are like rarely, sometimes, never.
Yeah. Something that the brands, the jewelry brands are doing a lot now is to focus on recycled gold. I mean, the concept of recycled, it sounds sustainable, right? Sounds like responsible. And I imagine they do it because they care about the environment. I mean, they care. We released a statement urging these brands to include artisanal and small scale mined gold as well. It is important. What is your opinion on that? Is choosing 100% recycled gold enough, or what do you think?
Well, my personal opinion, and I think several people would, you know, that there's kind of agreement about this, is that the entire gold ecosystem, an ecosystem might not be a good word because you think like green and lush, but it
like
is
the universe.
It's a universe. It's a well-developed universe, and it has always had gold recycling in its story. It's had newly mined gold in its story, but it's always had recycling in its story, because you don't throw gold away. It has value, right?
Of course.
So there are kind of varying levels of commitment then within that. So, you know, if it's possible to assure that the gold you're buying is 100% recycled, and that can be verified by a third party, that's one step more in a positive direction in terms of, you know, is it sustainable?
Yeah.
Where I get really frustrated and sometimes a little bit confused is when claims are made around that impact of that recycled choice. So for instance, a claim that we often hear is that it reduces new mining.
Yeah.
I'm using recycled gold because I don't want to support any new mining.
Yeah.
And that is a myth that we have to unpack because it's inaccurate. The claim is inaccurate. And so a lot of people don't want to hear that, you know, that because recycled seems like it feels good, it makes sense. But really the gold that's in your, you know, in your recycled, even with third-party certification, could have been mined not long ago, could have been newly mined not long ago and folded in the system. There are also, you know, with gold, there's always room for bad actors. It is the nature of the material it's a material where money can easily be made. It's easily melted down, converted, recast, and so on. And we are learning that recycling is a place where there's still room, there's still risk for material to be laundered through a legitimate recycling system. So it's not to say that your gold, if it's 100% recycled, you know, is not without issue. There's no perfect in gold. Yeah. So is it true that, you know, the recycling process uses less energy than the mining of new material? Yeah, unless you're a gold panner in a stream, then your gold mining activity is doing very little to contribute to greenhouse gas emissions or anything, because you're not using any energy except for your own human energy, right? Yes. So with really subsistence mining, there's often very little energy that is required for that. So in that, going back to that original question, you know, how do I actually make the biggest difference? How do I actually influence the materials that we're using and the people that are impacted by them in the best way? And so asking the question of who benefits when I make this gold purchase? The only way we can really answer that is when we look at miners. Yeah. You know, where we can really understand who's benefiting. And that's the place where there's still a lot of room for improvement and a lot of signaling that the industry needs to do to show miners that there is support, a willingness to incentivize, to support what they're doing. And then there is also this systemic change that needs to occur where the entire industry and consumers learn how to accept the concept of continuous improvement, where we believe each other when we say we're trying to improve. Yeah. We show the evidence of that improvement over time. And so investing in artisanal and small scale gold mining allows for the direct influence of better practices. The miners, they also have some responsibility, right? So what is the role of, in particular, the artisanal and small scale gold mining sector in this scenario? You have visited some mines, right? Here in Colombia. So are you optimistic about the miners becoming more sustainable every day? Yeah, well, the miners I have met, yes. Yeah, okay. And I got to be close friends with Roberto Alvarez, who's a miner in Colombia with a really small mine, small production, but they are one of those mine sites where they balance agriculture and mining. Yeah, lovely. And it's the first artisanal gold mine I've ever visited where a kilometer-long hiking trail was being built as part of the design of the mine along the most beautiful parts of it. And such a commitment to clean up legacy mercury pollution that was in that area. So, gosh, there are inspiring leaders among the miners themselves, right, that want to do this. And I think that's a really important flip in our thinking, is that we tend to see a lot of this as a demand from wealthier countries or from the global north to, you know, these are our expectations of, you know, and you go to a place like the Gualconda mine and it's like, oh, hold on a second, you know, they're setting their own standard, you know, for good practice. So anyway, I know that's not the case everywhere. You know, I'm also doing work with organizations that are trying to improve artisanal gold mining in the Amazon. And the circumstances, the pressures on those miners are extreme to bring money back to their families in the highlands,
Yes.
to eke out a little bit of income so they can send their kids to school, to not succumb to illicit, the demands of illicit actors that can at times control certain areas of that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have training in responsible mining. They have a primary economic need to feed their families, right?
Yeah.
So that's not their fault.
No, they
It's
need
not
to
their
live
fault.
somehow.
Yeah, they have to live somehow. So that's where I'm hopeful that some of these international systems that are being developed are going to enable us to bring these two worlds together.
Yeah.
So, I love seeing that there are miners that are willing to learn alternative techniques. They understand that mercury is toxic. They want to get away from it. And at the same time, they are willing to teach and educate their peers that are in similar industries.
Mm-hmm.
So I see both. I see
Yeah.
both those that are fully committed and then those that need help. And it's our responsibility to really get behind that.
What can the market do to contribute to the positive transformation that is going on? I mean, we're getting there, but there's still a lot of to be done. So what would you recommend to the market to become more aware of these issues and to contribute?
Yeah. I'm going to start in like a really small scenario with that. And that is, again, returning to that question of what's the world I want to see?
Yeah.
How do I advocate for the creation of that? And that becomes the core message of the market. It's like the gold of the future, the silver of the future, the platinum of the future is, in this case, gold. It's mercury free. It is mined in a way that protects the environment. It is mined in a way that returns deforested areas to forested areas. It's so you can start to build a collective desire to see equity and justice and care and fairness across the materials.
Mm-hmm.
So then everyone has to ask themselves that question: what am I doing to support this vision? What am I doing? And you have to work within your limits. And so the little example I want to give is, yesterday I actually spoke with an independent jeweler who doesn't manufacture her own jewelry. She relies on an outside manufacturer for bespoke engagement rings.
Okay.
And she really wants to do more.
Yeah.
But is very limited in the way that she can produce her work. So the recommendation, because we've been doing this work for so long, the recommendation is to find your community, find your peers, and together then you can create the market solutions that are going to allow you to produce with the materials you want to produce with in a manageable, feasible way. And that it solves the problem for the 5 jewelers you didn't realize were asking for the same thing in your same town, right?
Yeah.
But if you try to solve it on your own, you're not going to be able to. So, but the personal thing is your own choice. And then the second thing is finding the community of people that are going to continue to develop it.
Mm-hmm.
So becoming more aware means making yourself open to both the issues and the solutions, and recognizing yourself as being either a contributor to one or the other. And which side do you want to be on? Do you want to be a contributor to the issues, or do you want to be a contributor to the solutions?
The jewelry brands and the gold market, they also have some responsibilities in terms of selling and being their goals. But that means that they need to prepare for these high peaks like the holiday season and St. Valentine's and Mother's Day, etc. How would you say they should prepare for these seasons in terms of sustainability?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So each one of those holidays offers an opportunity to appeal to consumers' hearts too. So it's one way to prepare is with your messaging to really let people know what you're doing, what you're contributing to with your jewelry. Make sure your claims are honest and realistic to what you're actually doing, but you should share what you're doing because it helps you stand out apart from the rest, and it helps make the jewelry that you're selling shine in a crowded market at the holidays.
Yeah.
So, like when you think about, a gift purchase or even something that you're buying for yourself or giving to someone that you love, all those opportunities mean that you want to build the best possible emotion into that piece of jewelry. So it's well designed. It hits a variety of price points, right? That, know who your customer is, but then you can also share with them the story behind, what your sourcing commitments are and so on. Another way to prepare is considering preparation in advance. So for many jewelers that use gold from artisanal miners, for example, they need to have secured that supply of gold much earlier in the season in order to be able to produce what they need for the holiday season. And that, for jewelers, that's one of the big things with supporting this is that we have to change habits a bit. And I know sometimes this sounds really unrealistic, and some people are going to tell me right away that it is. But I think it's possible with creativity to redesign the way you approach your production. And for some, that means, using a blend of recycled and ASM. For some, that means producing more than they normally would so that they're ready for customers to make the purchase. For some, that means extending, much longer for bespoke requests. Instead of saying I can deliver this in 2 weeks, you have to deliver it in a month. And you have to set that expectation on the part of the consumer. And we've heard from some brands that they've had great success in this. Sometimes 2 to 3 month waits for wedding rings. Because they've set an expectation and a product type that people really want. So it doesn't work for, there are, as many jewelers as are out there, there are that many creative solutions to how you handle this at the holidays. But it's a great opportunity to put your commitment to sustainability and responsible sourcing front and center.
Of course. And when these seasons are coming, they're always like talking to the consumers, right? So what to give during that time? So what is a good gift for your wife, for your loved one, for whoever? And we actually released or we're going to release, I don't know if that's public yet, a video talking directly to the consumer. It's like when you buy a ring made with Fairmined gold, you're giving that to someone, or you're also giving something to the miners who mine that gold. Thanks
for that reminder. No, because it is like that. It is like that where when you're purchasing Fairmined gold, for example, it's not just about delivering to your customer. Your decision to purchase Fairmined gold, or what it does is it allows for a rippling effect of support in the communities where that gold was mined. So it's hard to say, this one ring achieved this, but you can say, that the overall operation where this gold came from, it supports You know, depending on the mine, it can support from, you know, 5 to 300 miners.
Yeah.
and their communities. You know, when we look at, I mean, when we look at this idea that over 100 million people are supported by artisanal gold mining globally, look at that as a Christmas or a Valentine's gift, right?
Exactly.
Like, look at that. And the majority of those people aren't, we wouldn't necessarily say that they're thriving, you know, that they have great opportunities for their lives. But when you add on an additional purchase price to that material, it's not just about the gold mining. It's also about what you give back to support the overall community. So, and that is the message of the holidays, right? To not only think about yourself, but think about others.
Yes, totally.